I became freshly fascinated by this couple and their remarkable lives. So, it seemed, was everyone else, since there were lots of questions, particularly about the Roosevelts' relationship. One person asked if there was a good book on the Roosevelt marriage. Nothing recent, the guide replied. She mentioned Eleanor and Franklin, 1971, by Joseph Lash, a close friend of Eleanor's, and Doris Kearns Goodwin's No Ordinary Time, Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt, The Home Front in World War II, 1994, which focuses on the final 5 years in the Roosevelts' 40-year marriage. There were plenty of books in the New Deal store, she said, next to Mrs. Nesbitt's cafe in the Welcome Center. It was sunset by the time I drove back to Manhattan, with the seed of my next book in my head. This is the story of the Roosevelt marriage, its evolution from conventional Victorian family into the bold and radical partnership that made Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt go down in history as one of the most inspiring couples of all times. In the face of trials that would test any marriage, FDR's domineering mother, the onset of FDR's polio, the strains of 12 years in the White House, the burden of leading the American people through the 20th century's most traumatic catastrophes, FDR and Eleanor emerged triumphant. As President and First Lady, they commanded respect at home and abroad. In the eyes of the free world, their partnership came to represent the ideals of Western liberal democracy. Were they not a model of equality, openness, and freedom of speech? When I told the chief archivist at the FDR library that I was researching the Roosevelt marriage, he remarked, "A touchy subject." The marriage raised eyebrows in the Roosevelts' lifetimes, and since Eleanor's death, details have emerged which makes it more controversial than ever. Was it a good relationship, or was it flawed, as most Roosevelt scholars seem to think? Did Franklin and Eleanor have affairs? Was Eleanor a lesbian? It is astounding, when you think about it, that the Roosevelts' marriage is still shrouded in mystery and secrecy. From March 1905, when the bride was given away by her father's brother, President Theodore Roosevelt, until the death of Franklin Roosevelt in April 1945, at the beginning of his 4th term as president, this marriage was played out in the public gaze. FDR was the longest-serving president in American history, and yet even as the most famous couple in the nation, living under relentless scrutiny, the Roosevelts managed to maintain their unorthodox private lives, keeping major details hidden from the public, and sometimes from each other. Surprisingly, the fresh material that has come our way in the past few years has had remarkably little impact on what I call the standard narrative, by which I mean the story most of us think we know. According to this version, Eleanor's discovery of FDR's affair with Lucy Mercer in 1918 was a dramatic turning point, after which the marriage degenerated, with Franklin and Eleanor keeping up a gracious façade, all the while finding their escape in politics and close friends. This, at least, is the basic plot, and beyond this, everyone takes sides. Some see Franklin as the long-suffering partner, while others claim it was Eleanor. FDR's partisans, usually male, paint a picture of Eleanor that is one-dimensional to the point of misogyny. Eleanor Roosevelt supporters, usually female, paint FDR as a slippery egotist. Just after Eleanor's death, Martha Gellhorn, who as a young left-wing journalist was a frequent guest at the White House in the late 1930s, told Adlai Stevenson, "All the weeping for Mrs. R. should have been done years ago, starting 70 years ago. I always thought she was the loneliest human being I ever knew in my life, and so used to bad treatment, beginning with her mother, and going right on that it did not occur to her to ask for anything for herself. Not ever. I never liked the president, nor trusted him as a man because of how he treated her." Bizarre though this sounds coming from Gellhorn, who had been married to the famously macho Ernest Hemingway, the ferocious taking of sides, as well as this view of the marriage as a kind of tragic compromise patched together by two lonely people, has lasted almost half a century. I find this an absurdly conventional and condescending interpretation.